When the Navy first built the Ford, it incorporated nearly 24 new technologies, some of which are still giving the service headaches 4 years after the ship entered the fleet. In a presentation recorded for August C Airspace Exposition, Chief of Naval Operations Administrator Mike Gilday said adding 23 new features to the Ford was a mistake the Navy can't afford to repeat. The head of the US Navy admits the service added too much untested tech to its latest and greatest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford. Before starting the video, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to never miss out on any of our videos. A US Navy aircraft carrier has undergone its first shock trial after being subjected to a detonation of 20 metric tons of explosives that registered as a 3.9 magnitude earthquake. The US Navy was trying to find out if the USS Gerald R. Ford, which cost $13 billion, 11 billion euros to build, could withstand combat conditions and is ready to go to war. The Navy announced the test in a statement, also releasing video footage of the blast on Sunday, 2 days after trials took place in the Atlantic Ocean. It showed water shoot from the ocean in what US media described as a 40,000-pound, 18,144-kilogram explosion. The importance of aircraft carriers in military history cannot be overstated. Aircraft carriers helped the United States win key naval battles in World War II, especially in the Pacific Theater. In the decades after World War II, aircraft carriers gave the United States the ability to project its military power across the globe. But advances in naval warfare could unseat the role of the aircraft carrier. Each part built for a Ford-class carrier starts its life as a full-scale 3D model inside Huntington Ingalls Industries' Rapid Operational Virtual Reality (ROVR) system. Gerald R. Ford also uses augmented reality technology to give its crew more insight into the ship's systems and improve efficiency. The building of a 90,000-ton warship always begins with a single cut. Newport News Shipbuilding held the commemorative first cut of steel ceremony for the John F. Kennedy, shown on February 25, 2011. Newport News Shipbuilding estimates that 4 million pounds of metal will be required just to weld the ship together. Workers tighten studs on a propeller shaft tail cap on the Ford using a torque wrench. The propellers will help the new class of ships reach speeds of 35 miles per hour, not bad for a 22.5 million pound sea vessel. Gilday said he needs to take a much more deliberate approach with respect to introducing new technologies to any platform, preferably one that only introduces up to 2 technologies per ship and thoroughly tests them on land first. The USS Ford is the inaugural ship in the Ford-class aircraft carriers, the first new class of aircraft carriers in 40 years. The Navy was eager to cram new tech into the Ford, including a new search radar, electromagnetically powered aircraft catapults to replace traditionally steam-powered catapults, a new aircraft recovery system, and 11 electromagnetically powered elevators designed to shuttle bombs and missiles from the ship's magazine to waiting for aircraft. But technical problems with the new features led to $2.8 billion in cost overruns and delays, resulting in a total ship cost of $13 billion, not including the actual planes on the carrier. The testing was carried out underwater, with a Navy ship being above water. The last such test carried out by the US Navy took place in 2016. The US Navy conducts shock trials of new ship designs using live explosives to confirm that our warships can continue to meet demanding mission requirements under harsh conditions they might encounter in battle, the Navy said in a statement. The first in-class aircraft carrier was designed using advanced computer modeling methods, testing and analysis to ensure the ship is hardened to withstand battle conditions, and these shock trials provide data used in validating the shock hardness of the ship. If you want to operate aircraft carriers, you need a whole lot of high-end technology to be able to defend it, said David Larder, a naval warfare reporter for Defense News. It's been the advancement in anti-ship cruise missiles that can be launched from land. It's been advancements in cruise missiles launched from bombers or fighters that just pose an enormous threat. Aircraft carriers are expensive, and losing one to a drastically cheaper anti-ship missile would be an unmitigated disaster. The latest carrier in the Navy, part of what's called the Ford class, costs $12.8 billion per ship, and that's before the costs of aircraft flying off the deck, fixing new technology, and operating the carrier in the high seas for months at a time. The USS Gerald Ford was officially commissioned on July 22, 2017 in Norfolk, Virginia, rooted in naval tradition, commissioning in an elaborate ceremony that puts a ship in active service. Though President Trump has been critical of the ship in the past, he struck a much more inspirational tone during the ship's commissioning ceremony. American hands and American steel constructed a 100,000-ton message to the world. American might is second to none, he said. Despite being officially commissioned, the Ford will require another 4 years of trials before deployment. This will add another $780 million to the ship's already hefty price tag. The completed USS Gerald R. Ford all holds a number of welcome quality of life upgrades for sailors over the previous Nimitz design, including quieter sleeping quarters, numerous recreation areas and gymnasiums, as well as better air conditioning. The Navy is building copies of new tech bound for its Constellation-class frigates on land to ensure they work properly, according to U.S. Naval Institute News. The Navy surprisingly didn't do this for several pieces of key tech that went into the Ford. Gilday also said the last of the 11 AWEs will be operational sometime this year. The Ford is currently in shock trials, a series of tests off the coast of Florida designed to ensure the ship can withstand shock and battle damage in wartime. The ship will then enter a maintenance period before its first deployment next year. The US has more active aircraft carriers than every other country in the world combined. Expensive, massive, and lethal, the aircraft carrier has been the cornerstone of American security for close to a century. But with advances in missile design, will it remain on top? President Trump, in an interview with Time, panned the ship's new high-tech catapult system. I said, "You don't use steam anymore for catapult." "No, sir," I said. How is it working?" "Sir, not good, not good." It sounded bad to me. Digital. They have digital. What is digital? And it's very complicated. You have to be Albert Einstein to figure it out. And I said, and now they want to buy more aircraft carriers. I said, what system are you going to be? "Sir, we're staying with digital." I said, "No, you're not. You going to goddamn steal. That digital costs hundreds of millions of dollars more money, and it's no good." In the past, major military vessels were built in one piece from the ground up. Today, the shipbuilding process is modular. The USS Gerald R. Ford has hosted a number of important dignitaries from the private and public sectors. In June 2016, Captain Richard McCormick gives a tour of the ship's bridge to New England Patriots head coach Bill Belichick and his wife. Susan Ford Bales visits the USS Gerald R. Ford during the building process in 2011. Ship sponsor Susan Ford Bales, along with Newport News shipbuilding employees Gary Carter and Gary Patton, test the carrier's new anchor handling system. The anchor on the Gerald R. Ford weighs a massive 30,000 pounds. Its chain is 1,440 feet long. Aviation boatswain mate fuels Airman Dustin Pickle collects a bottle of kerosene-based JP5 jet fuel used in the carrier's aircraft for testing. Pickle and the rest of the flight deck crews of the PCU Gerald R. Ford wear color-coded uniforms associated with their specific duties. All aviation fuel handlers wear purple, for example, while aircraft handling officers wear yellow, crash and salvage crews wear red, and messengers or phone talkers wear blue. Important visitors to the ship are greeted by the Rainbow Side Boys, a lineup of two sailors of each color standing opposite each other. As the famous old sailor adage goes, if it moves, salute it. If it doesn't, paint it. And indeed, painting is a key part of the process at Newport News Shipbuilding, requiring between 120 and 170 workers to get the job done. On March 2, 2017, President Donald Trump took a tour of the ship at Newport News Shipbuilding and announced plans to lift Obama-era limits on military spending and put more money into the over-budget program. After years of budget cuts that have impaired our defense, I'm calling for one of the largest defense spending increases in history, Trump said. And by eliminating the sequester and the uncertainty it creates, we will make it easier for the Navy to plan for the future.